Galileo and the fight for scientific truth. Galileo Galilei was the first to work out the equations of motion. He began his study at the University of Pisa as a medical student, but later forsook medicine to study mathematics and physics. By the age of 25, his outstanding ability and intellectual curiosity earned him a professorship at the University of Pisa. The Greek philosopher Aristotle had taught that the speed at which a body falls to the ground depends on its mass. This wrong assertion was accepted for centuries. It is common experience that when a feather and a coin are dropped together, the coin reaches the ground first. However, this is due to air resistance, not the object masses. In 1591, the young Galileo proved this wrong through a simple experiment. According to legend, he dropped objects of different weight from the Leaning Tower of Pisa and observed that they reached the ground at the same time, demonstrating that all objects fall with the same acceleration in the absence of air resistance. This experiment settled a debate that lasted nearly 2,000 years. Because it was difficult in his time to measure the rapid motion of falling bodies accurately, Galileo used inclined plane to slow down the acceleration and measure time using a water clock. Some held the view that his inclined plane experiments were designed to minimize air resistance, while the famous story of dropping objects from the Leaning Tower of Pisa is considered a myth by some. His discovery laid the foundation for Isaac Newton's subsequent work on gravity and motion, establishing the principle that governs falling objects. At one time in his life, he was imprisoned for teaching that the planets orbit the sun and not the earth, as the common belief in his time, this being contrary to the teaching of the church at that time. Galileo took back his statement but still lived under house arrest for the rest of his life. It took 359 years and the leadership of Pope John Paul II to recognize the wrong. On October 31, 1992, he formally apologized for the Galileo's case. Around the same era, another Italian philosopher, Giordano Bruno, was imprisoned, tried and executed by burning at the stake by the Roman Inquisition for refusing to renounce his belief that all planets revolve around the sun and that the earth is not flat. His courage and tragic death further highlight the struggle between science and dogma during the Renaissance, Shakespeare poem to Giordano Bruno. There are Bible verses that support the fact that the earth is spherical. Proverbs 8:27, Isaiah 40:22, Job 26:7. After Galileo's death, Robert Boyle was the first to use his newly invented air pump to remove air from a tall glass jar containing a lead bullet and a feather. When the jar was inverted, both bullet and feather reached the bottom of the jar simultaneously. The fact remains that air resistance and force of gravity governs the rate at which a body falls towards the earth. In our next lesson, we'll be looking at the equations of motion and how to pick each to solve a particular problem. You can share your thoughts with me. See you in the next class.